Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Ready for some news stories from Ask a Lawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's ex-husband, who left her while she was pregnant and brought his affair partner he left OP for to the hospital while OP was giving birth. To be honest, I was shocked with OP's husband's audacity, but listen to the end of the story to hear my insights on the situation. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Shortly after finding out I was pregnant with our second child, my husband left me. A short time later, I found out he was with someone else and that he was staying with her and her kids, and he had already brought her around our oldest child, including in the place we lived. While I've never been able to confirm whether he cheated on me, I've had my suspicions, given the timing. I had a planned C-section, and he asked me how I felt about her and the kids coming to see the baby after she was born. I said to give it a couple of days before bringing them around. Delivery day comes around, and the first people I see after getting out of recovery are my mom, my ex, and his girlfriend and her kids. I started crying and telling them to get the duck out. The nurse comes in and asks me what is the matter, and I tell her that I want them to leave, and goes and tells them they have to go. Later, my ex comes and he is furious. He tells me I should have let them stay, that they just wanted to see the baby because she's their family too. I told him he was an a-hole for bringing his new family to the birth of his child with me, especially when I told him to give me some time before bringing them around. OMG, guys, that's just crazy. That is some kind of television drama. What did he expect to happen when he brought his affair partner to see OP at her most vulnerable, in a time that should have been among her most treasured memories? OP's ex is disgusting and doesn't deserve any respect. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Hardcore Gore W says, "Not the a-hole. It is you and your ex's child, not her child. You did not want her there, and you were not at all obligated to have her there." Patheus says, "Not the a-hole. It was your delivery. You had every right to not want his new family around for delivery. You wanted some time before they met the baby. He should have honored that." Stelly Poot says, "Not the a-hole. No way, no how. But your ex and his girlfriend were both a-holes to the highest degree. Frankly, I think she as a mother should have known how absolutely disrespectful it was to go in there after you just gave birth. He had zero right to bring them in." My boyfriend, 33 male, and I, 29 female, have been together for 3 years. He is a very frugal person, which was fine initially, but now is just killing our relationship. I'm quite frugal myself. I own my own apartment. My car is a Honda Fit, was paid for in cash. I have no debt, and I have over $240,000 in retirement, assets, and savings. But he takes it to another level. If we eat out, every meal must be split between us according to who ate what, and he will correct the waitress until I decide to pay more, so the waitress doesn't suffer having to redo the bill. He paid for the first few dates, but then never ever took me out again, not even on my birthday. Never any presents other than a card, and maybe a slice of cake. I bought him a nice watch for his birthday, but then never got him anything at all because I was really disappointed by his gift to me. He is not poor. He makes $70,000 a year in a middle cost of living area. He owns 3 pairs of shoes, a sandal, sneaker, and winter boot, and nothing else. Even though it rains enough, rain boots are necessary. It used to be very nice he was non-capitalistic, but now it's just annoying. When we went to vacation, after some begging on my part because he doesn't want to pay for any travel, we had to leave at 3 a.m. and have a 5-hour layover because the direct flight that lets us get a decent night's rest is $200 more. Maybe it's a difference of opinion, but to me, being dog-tired and sitting in the airport for 5 hours isn't worth the $200 saved. And he refused to pay it, and it wouldn't be feasible to travel separately, so I dealt with it. Everything is about saving money, and he refuses to go skiing or to escape rooms with me because it costs money. Anyway, he got me the engagement ring, and I said yes. Initially, I did have reservations because of what I mentioned above, but put that out of my head. He didn't give me anything associated with the ring, and when a friend saw it, he swore up and down it wasn't a diamond. I also am very doubtful my boyfriend would ever pay for a diamond. So I sent it to a jeweler to get assessed. Turns out to be a white sapphire. They told me that the ring would be worth $500 to $800, which is not a problem on its own. But the fact he wouldn't even spend much money on an engagement ring just makes me question how I'm expected to live with him in the future. He rents, but lives in a terrible place to save money, Will I be expected to live like that? I brought it up with him later, and he got furious and accused me of being a gold digger for checking the ring. I kept telling him it's just one of the many problems I've tried to talk about with him regarding his spending, and he just accused me of trying to cover up that I wanted an expensive ring. I'm being made to feel like a villain for not being happy about the ring, and how much I'm expected to sacrifice because of his frugality. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP needs to run as fast as she can. So many red flags. He's simply a cheapskate. OP already has doubts, so she needs to listen to herself. If OP marries him, he will expect that OP's money automatically belongs to him. I suspect OP already knows that. This is not the relationship for OP. I think OP should return his ring and move on. Let's see if the community thinks the same. Homely Hobbit says, "Why are you marrying this guy? He is who he is. He's not going to change. You've been through 3 years of this. Is this how you want to live the rest of your life? Can you imagine having kids with this man and watching him nickel and dime their entire childhoods? Run." My 3 boys, my world says, "Sweetie, this man is throwing all kinds of red flags at you. I mean, it's okay to be frugal, but there's frugal and there's tightwad. Plus, calling you a gold digger because he got caught trying to pass a sapphire off as a diamond is gaslighting you into thinking you're the one with the problem. This is the first sign of a controlling, manipulative, and emotionally aggressive person. If I were you, I would sit down and mentally examine your entire relationship with him. Is this new behavior, the gaslighting, not the frugality, or has he been doing this subtly all along? So subtle you didn't even notice it was happening. I would think hard before I say I do." Edited to add, not the a-hole. Flomo Joe Blow says, "You two are incompatible. It's that simple. He needs to be with someone who's just as tight as he, and you need to be with someone not so tight." I'm female 30, currently pregnant. I have a sister, Emma, 48, who lost her husband to the big C last year. Emma was and still is completely devastated by her husband's death, and when he passed in May, she immediately wanted to get rid of their house. As soon as she told me she wanted to sell, I jumped on the chance. Her house has literally been my dream house since I was a child, and Emma was very happy for it to stay in the family. She wanted to sell it to me for ridiculously cheap, but I insisted on paying only very little below market price. She was grateful. We set up the contracts. The sale was officially closed in July. Very quick sale. Emma moved about 5 hours away into a flat in a fairly big city and seemed very happy there for the last year. Then her new therapist made her understand that she's never really given herself time to grieve properly, and so recently she asked me if she could move back into the house to find a way to say goodbye. I admittedly was hesitant. I'm due with my first child in October. I'm a single mom. I'm in the process of renovating some space for my daughter. However, I agreed, and Emma has been living with me for about 4 weeks now. Things are not going great. She cries all day every day, which she says is normal as per her therapist, but makes me really worry. She still acts as if the house is hers, rearranging my things, using things without asking. She keeps locking my cat in rooms because she doesn't like him. I overheard her on the phone with a friend, saying she was excited for my daughter to arrive because it'll mean she'll have the house to herself for a few weeks. When confronted, she said, "Aren't you moving in with Mom for a few weeks so she can help?" I told her no. In fact, my mother-in-law would be staying with me. X doesn't want to be involved. His mom does, however, and she's the sweetest. Because Mom is over 70 and physically can't do it anymore. Emma has been really weird since then, acting as if I have wronged her somehow. When I asked her how long she'd be staying, she had no answer. I'm thinking of asking her to move out soon, so I can prepare for my child. But my parents have warned me against it because Emma is still so fragile, and even my friends say that it really didn't feel right to throw out a grieving person who so obviously needs help. So would I be the a-hole? I think OP is not in the wrong here at all. OP's sister is going through something awful, and it seems like she rushed into selling the house. However, the house isn't integral to her healing or grieving. She sold the house. Had she sold it to a stranger, she wouldn't expect to be let back in. OP should give her a date she needs to be gone by and stick to it. She can't stay indefinitely, and she's being possessive of something that isn't hers anymore. Let's see what the community has to say on the situation. Jilly Pepper 72 says, "Not the a-hole. Question: do you think the therapist really suggested she move back home, or was this possibly a way for her to get back into her comfort zone? You are about to bring a child home, and that child is your priority. Tell your sister there are going to be some non-negotiable house rules, and if she is unable to adhere to them, then she should likely start to find another place. You paid for the home and welcomed her to grieve. This is not her new normal situation. You didn't sign up for that. From what she told me, and I believe her, her therapist made her realize she pushed everything related to her husband away immediately because she couldn't handle the pain. She sold the house, got rid of almost all their joint possessions, his clothing, books, art they collected, etc. She got rid of everything in a matter of weeks and then moved far away so she wouldn't even have to see the places they've been at together anymore. So, yeah, I can see where the therapist is coming from. My house is literally the only thing she has left that directly connects her to her husband in a significant way. Beach Bunny says, "Not the a-hole. Your sister got terrible advice from her therapist. I speak from personal experience on this. It was a bad idea for her to sell her house and get rid of all the possessions and essentially run away from the pain. However, that ship has sailed and she has to find her new normal and a way to accept her new reality. She cannot recreate her memories in your house because it's your house and you are arranging it for your use. You being there is intrusive to her memories. She can't fix accepting her grief by living in your house. It's not her house anymore. That's why either her therapist is a complete moron or she has misunderstood what her therapist suggested. She would be better served by moving out ASAP and find a new therapist to help her process her grief. Grieving a spouse can take years. Some never get over it." My boyfriend, 44 male, and his ex-wife, 44 female, own a timeshare in an expensive tropical location. They were unable to travel last month as planned because of travel restrictions, so they are planning to go next December. They want to travel together because they are co-parenting their daughter, 10 female. They invited me, 36 female, and my daughter, 12 female, to join them next December for a 2-week vacation. The property is large with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, and space to sleep 9 people. The location is absolutely gorgeous. They wouldn't expect me to contribute any money towards accommodations, which means my daughter and I would get the opportunity to travel to a place that would otherwise be out of reach for me financially. Even so, I don't feel comfortable committing to a 2-week vacation with my boyfriend's ex-wife. He and I have been together for 8 months, and I've met his ex-wife a couple times. She seems to be a friendly and charismatic person. I like her, but she also has boundary issues. For example, she calls my boyfriend regularly when he and I are together, and if he doesn't answer his phone, she will call until he picks up or send him a bunch of texts. It has never been an emergency. This usually only happens if she's single. Her calls and texts are far less frequent if she's dating someone. I told my boyfriend I would not be able to go on vacation with him if his ex-wife is there. I don't want to share space, meals, and activities with a woman I don't know very well. He insists we will have time alone, but based on our aforementioned behavior, I don't think we will have very much alone time. Besides that, is it wrong to want to have a vacation with just my boyfriend and our girls? Why should our vacation be contingent on the attendance of his ex? While he understands my position, he is upset because he really wants me there. From their perspective, they are generously inviting me on a luxury vacation to a resort I couldn't afford on my own. From my perspective, I'd rather go to an affordable place in another location so I could vacation with my boyfriend and not his ex-wife. I suggested that they split the timeshare slot and each take 1 week so he and I could go together, but he didn't seem interested in cutting his vacation in half. I respect that decision, and I'm able to take a separate vacation to another tropical location with just my daughter. Edit to clarify why this is an a-hole not the a-hole situation. His ex was friendly with me before. Now she won't look at me or speak to me, which leads me to believe she thinks I'm an a-hole. I personally think OP is not in the wrong here. There are so many red flags for this relationship. OP's boyfriend definitely has boundary issues concerning his ex-wife. He doesn't know how to see or enforce them. She has boundary issues. She doesn't seem to understand that OP is the girlfriend and she is the ex. I hope OP is positive that they have no plans on getting back together, especially when she's single. She continues to act too familiar with him and is too comfortable doing what she's doing. Maybe she, or both of them, regret the split. OP needs to figure out her boundaries and stick to them. They can still co-parent without this hot mess going on. Let's see what the community thinks about the matter. Deleted user says, "No a-hole. It's great they are able to co-parent that well, and nice they invited you along to join the fun. It's understandable you aren't comfortable, All that said, his relationship with his ex is always going to be there because they share a child. So I guess you should consider whether this is something that you'll be able to deal with for the rest of your relationship. Simba 1998 says, "No a-hole. They are co-parenting a 10-year-old. She is going to be in his life for at least another 8 years. So if you see a future here, you need to get used to it. You aren't an a-hole for not wanting to go, and he isn't wrong for wanting you there. But my guess is you need to figure out how much you can deal with this woman, not ask them to change their co-parenting arrangement. If it's too much for you, that is understandable, but there is a child involved, and it sounds like they're trying to do the best they can for him." My boyfriend has a very close friendship with his ex-wife. She divorced him 2 years ago for another guy, but still strings him along for the ride. They have no kids together. They talk every day and hang out often because they're in the same group of friends. I live in another city, so I'm not around when they hang out. I found out that his ex-wife still comes over and cooks for him sometimes. He has also taken her out to dinner and drinks to celebrate her being promoted at work and things like that. Most recently, she has been calling him to complain about how she's not happy with her new boyfriend, who she dumped for him. Now his birthday is approaching, and she wants to come over to his place and cook him breakfast like she has for the past couple years. Boyfriend sees no issue with this and insists they are just platonic friends. He also said that if I lived in his city, it would be different, and she would stop doing things like this for him. I told him this is unacceptable, and that I'm not being a third wheel to their weird relationship. Am I the a-hole for not letting my boyfriend's ex-wife come over and cook a birthday breakfast for him? Halo MTM says, "Not the a-hole. Also, red flags everywhere. If you can't be the most important woman in his life after this chick dumped him for another guy, do you think you ever will be?" Competitive T 2413 says, "He's cheating on you with his ex. They may not be having S, but they are having an emotional relationship. He's probably going to get back with her. Forget him and find someone else who can commit to you 100%. Friendly Nia says, "I worry about the fact that he said if you were there, she wouldn't be doing those things for him. It heavily implies that he basically sees her as a substitute girlfriend. Whether any physical lines have been crossed or not, it's emotionally messy. Not the a-hole if you talk to him about how you're feeling and why you feel that way, and let him make a decision. I feel like forbidding a partner generally leads to lies and resentment." Update. Broke up with him. It was dramatic. He made it clear that his ex-wife will never be out of his life and that he cannot set boundaries.